Hi crafty friends. I just wanted to do a quick tutorial on something that's kind of mixed media. Gonna look really cool. Hopefully, I've not done one of these yet, but I kind of got this idea, and I'm going to attempt to make something kind of cool. I'm using this cone-shaped. It's like a cardboardy kind of cone-shaped dealio here, and I'm going to cover it in various buttons, and I have a lot of vintage buttons and things. I've got these are all vintage pieces that that a friend of mine had given me a box of stuff, and so I have an entire box of vintage buttons. Plus I have this thing here which is full of vintage buttons that I got. I'm lucky to have a store by me that's basically has all donated craft supplies. So when you go there, you buy, you could buy brand new stuff or, old, not brand new stuff for dirt cheap. So I'm kind of lucky I have that, and that's where I got a lot of these buttons from. But anyway, so I want to make it kind of look, not brand new. I want it to kind of look like it's kind of got a vintagey feel to it anyway. So I'm gonna. I was thinking about gessoing this first, but I don't think I'm going to, because if I gesso it, then the darker color is going to be harder to cover on this, whereas it's already kind of a dark color. So, and it'll give kind of a vintage feel. I got a couple different colors here. I'm gonna try, and if this doesn't work and it doesn't cover, then I'll use paint. But I'm not sure this is the right color. No, I think that's not it. This is the one. I'm using the Distress Stain Vintage Photo. I'm not sure this will be the right color. Yeah, it looks kind of cool. So I'm just going to go over it just so that, it's probably not even going to really show much because the buttons are pretty much going to cover everything. But for any little spaces in between that happen to show, I'm going to throw this on. No, it looks cool. It has like a cool, it's picking up the different textures in this, and it kind of looks cool. So that's kind of good. So we'll see. It might come out like a total ratchet mess, or, it might actually look cool. At least I hope so. There we go. I'm going to squeeze that bottle, get it on. I want it to be pretty dark. So I'm just going to cover this with the Distress Stain and likely get it all over myself, which is okay. I also have a variety of bling that I can use to cover it with. I'm just kind of going over it. It looks really cool. I don't know if it's going to pick it up on camera. You see the different like splotchy spots where it really looks aged like that, and I kind of dig that a lot. That's really cool. It kind of gives it a leathery, kind of worn leather look. That's kind of what I really wanted to happen, so I'm kind of happy that it did happen. I wasn't sure if it was actually going to do that. And I'm just going to do this lip around here a little bit. Okay. And while that's drying for a few seconds, it shouldn't take long. I'll show you the different little things that I have that I can potentially put on there. I've got some more. These are not vintage, but I bought them and they're supposed to look vintage, but these aren't actually vintage. So I've got some of those as well. I've got some of these little doodad things. I doubt I'll be putting any of these on as I drop them all over the place. But I'm probably going to stick to things that are round, mostly. And, like, I would put some of these filigrees on and such. But I want things that are a little bit raised. So these are, like, super thin, whereas this is vintage button, or this is actually a vintage earring, is more raised. And so I'd rather do that, because otherwise I think it'll look kind of funny if it's not kind of a little bit uniformed. I'm going to use hot glue. And then I also have this is my Bucket O Bling, and I have some of this stuff. And actually, this was actually given to me as a gift in something I ordered and received today. So I stuck it in my bling bucket, but I may use that as well. But then I've got a variety of little diamond bling, and I may use some of that. Not exactly sure. I also have these little things. They're meant to, like, one part screws into the other, and they're these little spiky things, and they're meant, I guess, sorry if my camera's not focusing. They're meant for, I guess, like clothing or putting on your shoes or just kind of doing something like that with. But if you don't screw it on and you just use the spiky part, I can probably glue them on there, and that would kind of look cool. So we'll see. I'm kind of going to see as I go. I'm going to start with just some plain buttons. I'm going to just drop some out here. And I'll have to cut off the back, the little eyelet thing in the back. And that's pretty easy. You just take a pair of, wire cutters, not that one. And, whoops. And you just, well, this one's got some sort of a pin in it. Of course it does. I pick up the only one with some weird pin in it. But anyway, you just take your pliers and just break off or snip off the little doodad that holds it in place, and then it'll lay flat on the project that you're making. So again, here's one, and then on the back it's got that little doodad, and I don't have to pull this one completely off, but I'm just gonna clip it a couple times. This is a plastic button, so they're a lot easier. So as long as it sits flush when I put it on. So, let's see, a button like that. That's a really cool button for this project. It's vintagey. It looks like 70s-ish. Kind of cool looking. Let's see if I can get this one off, because it's, thick as hell. Let's see. There we go. That was a thick piece of metal on that one. There's a little nub on that one. Some of those are tough. The little plastic ones are so much easier. It's like you don't even have to put any effort into it, and they just come right off. So basically you'll sit and just take off the little things. I don't know what they're called exactly. Eyelets, or I call them nubs. So I'll take the little nubs off the buttons. And then I'll start gluing them on. And I'll start at the bottom and work my way up with some smaller buttons as I get up there. If I can get this thing to cooperate. It's so old, this thing. Come on now. Okay. I'd rather do a bunch at first rather than sit here and do each one before I glue it. And I probably could have spared you the boredom and did this beforehand. But that's okay. I think you like watching me struggle to do this. Don't lie. That one's like a... okay, that came off, but it was a pain in the butt. Okay, did I get most of my big ones? No, here's one with a earring back on it. So I just snipped the little earring part off. That's pretty pretty easy. Here's the other one with the earring back on it. These things are so heavy. I'm using these big old ones because the ones for my jewelry I don't like to use for things like this because I don't like to dull those. But these big honking things have been around forever, and it doesn't seem like I can ever kill them because they just don't ever die. Alright, let's see. Anything else? Here's one. But I really like collecting old broken jewelry and old buttons and stuff. It's a lot of fun to do with projects, especially mixed media projects. They always come in handy. And where I like to get a lot of the old broken jewelry is at the flea market's a good place. A lot of times there'll be somebody there that just has a box of junk that they'll lay out on a table and say, oh yeah, you know, if you fill up this little bag, it's a couple dollars. And then you can say, well, how much for the whole box? And possibly get the whole box and then go through it all at home and maybe find some cool things, you know, in it to use, which, you know, this box that I had gotten had some really cool stuff in it. So I was really pleased. And my friend actually gave it to me because she picked out the things that she wanted, and she doesn't do mixed media, so it worked out for the best. I might have to make that. I might have to bang that one a little bit or mash it down. It's something. That one, the piece is sticking up a little bit. Sorry. That should be good. Okay. So I have enough to get started anyway. So you just start basically going around and putting some glue on and gluing it. And of course you want to be careful not to glue it so that it can't sit. You know, you don't want to glue them over the edge to, you know, really, because you want it to be able to sit flat so it looks kind of cool just sitting on a table or what have you. Make sure that I've got enough buttons to use. I'm just going to go around and put them together real close so there's not much showing, because I'll have little things I'll find to put into the cracks there. See, like that's a cool button. I like that one. Of course, I got to take off the plastic. That should be fine. So I'm just going to keep going around with my little glue gun. I hate those little glue strings that get left behind. If they can come up with a glue that is like, that doesn't do that, or, you know, that would be just great. I really would appreciate it if one of these companies came out with a glue that didn't leave like mozzarella strands, as I like to call them. Because it's like when you bite into cheese and it just kind of keeps going and going. Well, this is a metal one, and this sucker is giving me a definite hard time. I may not be able to... Ooh, or maybe I will. Kind of. I got most of it. Let's see if I can... Oh, there we go. That sucker didn't like me. Ooh, that button got hot because it's metal. It's hard to hold it down. Woo! Dang it. That sucker's hot. Okay, good enough. So basically I'm just going to keep doing this, and I'll speed it up so that you guys don't have to endure sitting here watching this because it's so boring, I'm sure. Okay, so as far as the buttons go, it's done. Okay, I think it looks really awesome. Even though I used up pretty much all my vintage buttons, which I love so much, and you can't see this very well. Let me move my camera a little so you can see. Even then, I don't know if you'll be able to see the whole thing. But anyway, that's it. It came out awesome. Now what I'm going to do is, bear with me here, whoops. Hold on a second. Oh, I gotta look in this little doodad container and fix my camera so that it doesn't fall over. Sorry, I have a really cruddy tripod. It doesn't hold my phone very well because my phone is really heavy. Okay, well that's not gonna work, is it? No, it is not. Let's see, what else do I have? I got stuff in here. Let's see what we got. Ooh, there it is. Okay. Sorry, I'm not prepared for this part. Because I actually thought I'd have enough stuff to fill the little spaces, but I really don't. But what I do have is this. And this is actually a vintage one of these chains. It's original to probably somebody's ceiling fan at some point in time. But it was in that box that I have of all vintagey stuff. So I'm going to take it and like, see this spot right here? Whoops, let's get it on the camera. See that spot like right in there? Let's see if it's, whoa, I don't want to knock you over. But anyway, like spots like that, I'm going to put a couple of links of that chain in there and stuff like that just to kind of fill it in so that, you know, it just kind of adds a little interest. And well, at least I hope it adds a little interest. We'll see about that. It can very well just add garbage and become gross. But we'll find out right now. Because if it looks cool, then it'll stay. If it don't, then it's going to go. And it actually looks cool. See? I don't know if you could see it. Right there. Oops. Where am I at? There we go. Sorry. I'm like weird. Anyway, so I think that looks cool from a distance. It doesn't look like one of those chains. It actually looks pretty awesome. So I'm going to go ahead and fill this in. You know, I'm just grabbing like 2 little links or the little round things off, 2 or 3, and throwing some glue and just dumping them in there. looks interesting and funky and cool. And it's got glue all over it, which, oh yeah, I'll show you how to get rid of that. So let's say you're doing a project, even if it's like a fabric flower or something like this, or a mixed media project, anything, and you want to remove the glue, the little glue webs, just hit your your heat gun on high and go around it like this. You don't want to do it enough to melt any glue that you've already put on, but all you have to do is that, and it pretty much will get all of them because they're so thin that they immediately kind of disintegrate. So it works really well. So I'm happy with this. I might find some more of that chain and put it on a couple of other little spots, but otherwise it's complete. So I hope you liked this. And if not, I apologize. But anyway, I really hope you enjoyed watching this video and checking out this little button cone thing, button tree maybe, because it kind of looks like a tree. Now I got the hiccups, sorry. So maybe you'll make a button. So I apologize, my stupid camera keeps shutting off because it just hates me, which is pretty typical of the electronics in my life. They all kind of have a very love-hate relationship with me. Anyway, as I was saying, it's finished pretty much. Like I said, I'm going to try to find some chain, put it in those little itty-bitty areas right there and stuff like that. Just little details, stupid little details that kind of are unnecessary because I think it looks badass the way it is. Totally awesome. But you know, these cone things were $1 at the dollar store, at the craft store. So, I mean, you could do something like, I have a medicine bottle full of buttons, like regular plastic cheapy buttons. You could do something like this with the kids, with the plastic buttons. You could do little flowers. You can do rocks. I don't know, whatever you want. You could do anything, but they're fun to do, and it's inexpensive unless you're using vintage buttons, which were not inexpensive. Well, some of them were not inexpensive. But I love this, and I'll probably put this up for sale. I don't know where. Probably my Pink Poodle and Crafts page at some point. But anyway, I hope you enjoyed this, and make sure that you love what you do and do what you love, and have a good night.